NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Does one attain anything from distinguishing the revealed and the secret like this or not? Hi, my friends. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your practice. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. I hope this finds you in good health and secure. It may not. Much of the world is in turmoil, and if anything should inspire compassion from us, deepen our practice, or savor your practice. Each Daimoku is like a complete recitation of the entire teaching of Shakyamuni, certainly as culminating in the Lotus teachings of the Lotus Sutra, which is a compilation of teachings of the last 8 years of Shakyamuni's life, right? That Kumarajiva put together in a very authoritative. He looked at all of the sutras that were around in his day, and he could identify each chapter of the Lotus Sutra as the Lotus teachings of his final 8 years. There were others in his time period, but those were other teachings, either not Shakyamuni's or adapted from Shakyamuni, earlier teachings. They just didn't ring true with the last 8 years of Shakyamuni's life. So he put together the 28 chapters and additional 3 chapters of the innumerable meanings that were obviously leading into this group of teachings of the Lotus, and which each Daimoku, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, we effectively recite the entirety. That's pretty amazing, and it's a reminder to you that racing through trying to chant as many Daimoku as you can in 5 minutes or 15 or an hour or whatever, that's nonsense. It's nonsense. It doesn't gain, if anything, it reduces your connection with your enlightenment, because you're sloughing through words, you're mumbling through words. How valuable is it to read for your mind to capture every word and savor every meaning in Shakyamuni's teachings if you're mumbling through them? Might as well go make a sandwich. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, clearly dedicated, that kind of ichinen, that kind of volition, determination, resolve. That's what does it. Nichiren repeats this over and over and over again in every way he can. He's even said things that he says, your determination alone will enlighten you. It's got to be of a clear, dedicated mind. That's what's important when you chant, when you do Gongyo. So I say, savor it, right? Don't just do it. How good is a meal if you just race through it so you can feel full? Okay, you feel full. Did you enjoy it? Did you taste the nuances in the food? All right. So we're reading from the new collection, the book that I've just put out on the ebooks page and the print page, the bookstore, the 3,000 Realms. The most, I think, neglected teaching of modern Buddhism, and yet it is the most critical insight into Nichiren's doctrine, let alone the Lotus Sutra itself. It was the core of what Shakyamuni was teaching. Wrestling with the way our mind works, the way that when we focus, when we savor our practice, what occurs in the sentient mind and how it relates to our life condition, our experience of Buddha-ness. Some is attained, answer, and some is not attained. The doctrines are the words that the Noble One dropped down from above. This is obviously cultural bias, but the point is, these are valuable words of Shakyamuni's. The Noble One, Shakyamuni, was able to teach both the revealed and the secret doctrines. And we talked about revealed versus secret. The secret can't communicate with words. The revealed, the experience of that Buddha-ness, Ordinary people talk and may be able to transmit the revealed doctrine. I experienced this, blah, 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 blah. But it is impossible for them to transmit the secret. That's another way of saying what I'm always reminding us of. Buddha-ness is something you must come to. That realization, that experience. No matter how good a track and field athlete you may be, and you can communicate every experience with every nuance of word and language as to what it was like to win the 400-meter hurdles in the Olympics. You can enthrall me and get my attention, but I'm not feeling it. I'm having to fantasize about it, but I don't know what it is. It's the same with Buddhahood. You can teach and talk about and share as we are right now. But unless you pick up the mantle with your sentient mind and experience for yourself, you will not know. So in that sense, it's secret, isn't it? I can reveal all sorts of aspects about it, but even those revelations are inadequate to the actual experience of it. That's what Tendai is talking about here. Those that inquire cause that which is observed. Those that have attained the rank of the 6 purified senses are able to fill the 3,000-fold spiritual realm with a single wonderful sound, and at will are able to completely reach and then transmit the secret doctrine. But the transmission is the revealed. The secret is only experienced by the person who takes it on. When cultivating observation and inspiring and cultivating the revealed teaching, one does not inspire or cultivate the secret. The person that inspires influences from the past attains and teaches the secret observation. This is moment to moment. Remember, we talk about previous lifetimes, next lifetime. We're talking moments. This lifetime is this moment into the next moment, into the next moment. Britet. Understand that? That's another misnomer. We read lifetime and we think from cradle to grave. That's not a lifetime in terms of Buddhism. A lifetime occurs in each and every moment. I know that it's hard to wrap our heads around that, but we've talked about that a lot. And here it is, right, my friends. When Shakyamuni said that the true nature of enlightenment could only be understood by Buddhas, this is me now interjecting, he was saying that until you yourself have attained the clear mind of emancipated perception of the true reality of all phenomena in the busy work of self-manifestation, formation, without intent but with momentum, that this observation alone would immediately translate to equanimity and compassionate understanding of all otherness, of samsaric reality, quote unquote. Without this penetrating knowledge/experience, all other discussions occurs in the very same realm or 3,000 realms of transmigration, and therefore incomplete emancipation. To the unenlightened, this clarity would appear as some secret, quote unquote, being kept away or out of reach, right? And Tendai continues, question, the gradual observation begins shallow and ends deep. What aspect of observation is it that begins deep and ends up shallow? Interesting question. Answer, this is the intermediate observation. In other words, when you start to suspect there is something else here beyond my daily samsaric life, and you walk away from it and you're right back into samsara, right? We all know that one. Hard to maintain that Buddha-ness, yeah? This is not one of the three aspects of calm observation when you really get into it. Question, the small vehicle was taught by the Buddha, Hinayana. What is the idea of saying that it is erroneous, typos? If it is spoke of as being erroneous, we should not speak of that which is gradual. Oh, so if there's an early teaching, which we now, because we practice the Lotus teachings, we can see as inferior, don't pay attention to that, that was just a beginning, then how can we talk about an intermediate teaching? Well, mixing up terms. Here's the difficulty of language, right? Answer, having already distinguished the great from the small is no longer discoursed upon here. Now, in speaking of the gradual doctrine, we are talking about that which moves gradually from the smallest to the most great. The small vehicle does not recognize the true spiritual aspect of reality from beginning to end. And so it is not the gradual aspect that is discussed here, right? In other words, for over 40 years, Shakyamuni taught and raised the mental capacity of his audience until for the last 8 years, he just focused on self-enlightenment. This is what I did. This is what everyone can do. Buddha-ness is already within you. You don't have to be a Buddhist to have Buddha-ness. It's part of every phenomena in the universe. Here's how you can actually experience it. That's the Lotus teachings, yeah? And so in that endeavor, we begin. Now with every Daimoku, we open that Gohonzon in our mind, that objective of reaching Buddha-ness. That's what Gohonzon means. It's not that mandala, right? We all know that. But obviously, when you first begin, it's kind of, well, realm shattering, right? What you think you know becomes less and less knowable, and what you begin to know is an experience that transcends. That's why we say transmigration. We transcend the samsaric and reach the universal, the timelessness, right? Time, space, same thing. Cause, effect, same thing. We're in the act of being. That's what this life is, action. Whether it happens in your mind, or you transform that into physical acts, or words, all of it is action. Life is action. Are you an actor, or are you experiencing and observing the actions, which are universal, not possessed? This is where the idea of self, ownership, all of these things we constantly talk about. Like Shakespeare said, we are all actors, spending all our energies and mind on what we do and the results of what we do. That's all about ownership, right? Identity. But we transcend, we transmigrate into the observer that sees actions. Like I've said before, I'm not angry, there is anger. I am manifesting anger, universal anger. Why am I manifesting rage? Why am I manifesting doubt? It's not mine. It's a condition of all phenomena. Right? Like ice planets and quasars. Could there be anything more disparate? These are the things we experience personally. But when we take them personally, we live in samsara, like we own it. But Buddha, our Buddha mind, our Buddha-ness understands these are processes that we experience. They're not owned by us. All that ownership is what creates our suffering. It's that simple. But learning that and inculcating that wisdom takes time. You can experience something once, but until you do it the second time, you don't start to really inhabit that experience, right? Right? That's different than previous teachings leading you to the point where you can understand. That's a different kind of gradual. Question. In indicating these three kinds of words, the words have forms. Do their form act as a door to the spiritual reality, or do they not? Now, when we're translating spiritual here, again, this is cultural bias, but understand that when in Buddhism we talk about spirituality, we're talking about the activity of the sentient mind. So why the word spiritual? Could we come up with a better word? The disembodied mind? Well, what would indicate most quickly to a Westerner? Right? We're not talking about the brain and its chemistry and its electronics and all of that. We're talking about the mind. Try to find that anywhere in the biology of a human being. It's an emergent property. Can't deny that it exists, but it's not an organ, right? So how do we transmigrate, if you will, from this brain and body and this whole apparatus to this sentient mind? Certainly we're communicating with it all the time. How do we influence it? How do we use its powers, its potential to move the other way, to influence, right? I mean, body, mind, body. This is ancient questions, yeah? So if they do act as a door, gohonzan, and their form is the spiritual aspect of reality, what further is there to be penetrated? If you know that, then isn't that the whole game? What do we need to do anything for? If their form does not act as a door, why is it said that, quote, each form and fragrance is not without the middle way, end quote? So, answer. The door of words is equivalent to the true spiritual aspect of reality. Equivalent. Living beings are quite deranged. Few are not. We indicate this with words. There are words that reach words that beyond words, and that which is neither with nor without words. Words are that door through which we grasp the true spiritual aspect of reality. Therefore, words are the door, and the door that possesses all things. Possesses. They are the door, and they are not the door. They are not the door, and they are not without the door. In that whole word salad, you should be conceiving in your mind the triple aspect of our practice. The singing, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, the recitation, more singing. The words, the sounds, the commitment to the sounds, the sensation of the sounds that we make to invoke, with the help of a mandala, with our eye consciousness, that focus on what? That's part of the door. To reach this ultimate door, Gohonzon, in our mind. Third aspect. And then the experience of Buddha-ness, of enlightenment. So, yeah, the door is mixed up with the words, but the words are not the door, but the words don't mean anything without the door. The analogy is tricky. So I interject here, further consideration may be noticed by the reader that the use of the words wonderful sound in relation to the secret and the additional use of the sentence, words are that door through which we grasp the true spiritual aspect of reality, end quote, resonate deeply with Nichiren's discussions on Daimoku and the invocation of Gohonzon, the highest ideal of experience, mind, as though walking through a door. Having read this far, the reader is now asked to consider the following Nichiren letters with the conceptual framework established thus far. So here now we move to a brief gosho. I thought we already read this. Am I losing my mind, folks? Happiness in this world. A brief letter written by Nichiren. And, yeah, we have time. Well, it's a brief letter, a couple of paragraphs. I could make an entire video or several about this alone, but having read what we just read from Tendai, let's see how Nichiren works with the same topic, yeah? There is no true happiness for human beings other than singing NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, chanting, right? The sutra reads, quote, where living beings enjoy themselves at ease, end quote. How could this passage mean anything but the boundless joy of the law? Surely you are included amongst the living beings, quote unquote. Where, quote unquote, means Jampudvipa, and Japan lies within Jampudvipa, could, quote, enjoy themselves at ease, end quote, mean anything but that both our bodies and minds lives and environment, blah, English, are entities of the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment of life and Buddhas of limitless joy. See, he's constantly, and Buddhism does this, moves in words from the samsaric reality to the mind's reality, the perception, the experience of that reality. There is no true happiness other than upholding a resolute mind in the Lotus Sutra. This is what is meant by, quote, peace and security in their present existence and good circumstances in the future, end quote. Think moment to moment to moment. While chanting, while invoking our Buddha nature, we are in peace and security in our present existence, samsara, and good circumstances in the future, next moment, enlightened, Buddha-ness. If you keep this in mind in everything that you study in Buddhism, you will not fail to understand. He goes on, though worldly troubles may arise, samsara guna samsara, never let them disturb you. No one can avoid problems, not even sages or worthies. We are, after all, human beings in samsara. It comes with the territory. But we needn't be buried by the attachments, possessions, physical realities of samsara in our mental experience of the whole drama, you could say. Drink sake only at home with your wife. Don't drink and drive. And chant NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Suffer what there is to suffer, enjoy what there is to enjoy, regard both suffering and joy as facts of life. This is samsara. And continue chanting NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo no matter what happens. How could this be anything other than the boundless joy of the law? Strengthen your power of a resolute mind more than ever. With my deep respect, Nichiren. Now, that's Nichiren being incredibly compassionate, yeah? He recognizes, he tells us, look, you're a human being. You're going to be attached to things. That's how you navigate through this physical life. But always, always, always remind your mind that that's what this is. Right? Keep your investment light in affairs of the world while constantly keeping your mind of enlightenment about the bigger picture in the foreground. Keep reminding yourself, lest you fall, there's that analogy of up and down again, into the lower realms. Those realms, those 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, they reflect our attachments, our experience of samsara. And we're not denying that samsara exists. Again, this is a subtlety of Buddhism that many, many miss. No. We understand that this samsaricness, with all of its foibles and difficulties and possessive natures, rather than being attached and buried by that situation, we can maintain a light up. We can see, yeah, I'm struggling right now. Oh, isn't that amazing? Crashed the car. I'm okay. Okay, let's deal with this. If we constantly have that reminder that this is just the process, and remind ourselves that the grandeur of being is so much more vast, then that minimizes the affect of our samsaric struggles. Our samsaric struggles just become a broken shoelace. Right? Does your whole world crumble when the shoelace breaks? Then you've forgotten your Buddha-ness. Then you're totally admired lower worlds, animality, attachment, ownership. Hell, rage, damn shoelace. Where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing? It's a freaking shoelace. Ooh, take a breath. What if when the shoelace broke, you laughed and then chanted out loud, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo? Broken shoelace. So silly. I guess I'm going to be late. It matters because it's daily life and existence, but does it? How much does it matter? This is the great gift of enlightenment. We can participate in samsara with all of its foibles, but never be consumed by it. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo once again. Please take care of your health. Keep your practice strong. Yeah. Savor your chanting and your recitations. Such precious, mind-feeding nourishment. Thank you for your support. Don't forget, please like and subscribe. It helps to expand our Sangha, to make us more, to avail more people of what we're doing here. And those patrons, those who can support us through Patreon, through PayPal, through buying books, ebooks on the threefoldlotus.com website. Thank you. Thank you for making this resource possible, yeah? In so many ways. In the meantime, enjoy your practice, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? You take care of yourself. Bye for now.
Yeah.